Hi. Well, I want to start by pointing out that it has been a long time since a formal statement about principles of languages across the curriculum was published. The last time such a thing happened was in 1998 with the Principles of Languages Across the Curriculum, LAC as it was known at the time. It was reprinted in another edition in 2000, but nothing since that time has really formally come out about the principles of cultures and languages across the curriculum. And one of the things that our consortium has been working on is starting to try to formalize that in some way and make a kind of a statement about what we stand by, what we believe in. So I'm going to make a stab at that and just run through some of these, what you might almost call a CLAC manifesto. Point 1. CLAC is a driver of students' personal transformation as users of languages and as critical analysts of culture. CLAC does not equal content-based language instruction. It is not about using content as a means of teaching language as a subject or a skill. Although, as we've been pointing out already today, content-based instruction can certainly be a critical bridge on the road that is CLAC. CLAC is not simply the infusion of culture into language teaching, what some people refer to as the 2007 MLA report, right? Infusing culture into all levels of language teaching should be a minimum expectation of all quality language programs. CLAC practitioners believe that language use can't be truly meaningful unless it is informed by an awareness of culture. This explains the new C that you see at the beginning of CLAC. To speak of the meaningful use of language, then, always implies the use of language within an authentic cultural context. The reverse is also true. For this reason, the C and the L are always linked together in CLAC. CLAC practitioners believe that meaningful use of language is qualitatively different from the study of language. Too many U.S. students continue to see modern languages as an academic object, or just another requirement they must complete on their way to a more meaningful curricular content. Ironically, the majority of distributional and general education language requirements in the U.S. only serve to reinforce this perception. CLAC practitioners believe that meaningful use of a second language is a critical step in the development of translingual and transcultural sensitivities. Using another language to approach subjects and experiences outside the traditional language classroom aids in the development of sensitization to cultural differences. It allows the student to operate from a third place, a place of estrangement, from which academic disciplines and the world more generally can be seen from a new and different perspective. CLAC experiences are qualitatively similar, and this in some ways for me is sort of the core of this. CLAC experiences are qualitatively similar to the experience of a self-reflective or an intentional form of study abroad. And for those of you who are international educators in the group, I think you know what I'm talking about. There's this new awareness of the fact that simply immersion, just throwing students into the deep water, if you will, isn't necessarily the most effective form of making them into global citizens. If you allow them to have opportunities to reflect on that experience, to reflect on the moments of culture shock and cultural difference, and to carry that home, that's how they're going to truly benefit from their abroad experience. And that sums up what we're trying to do with CLAC. It's immersion, but intentional, conscious, and self-reflective, and comparative. CLAC can involve more or less immersive, meaningful language use. You might say at one end, if you could think of a kind of a continuum, which is a messy metaphor, I don't necessarily like it, but you might think about parallel to the experience a student might have in an island study abroad program. Students in U.S. classrooms read, discuss, and reference materials written in English by native speakers of another language, focusing on the cultural filters that inform the meaning of the text. While another version of CLAC might see students using language to access and create meaning from within the immediate cultural context of that language. So at this point, CLAC and full immersion study abroad become, in effect, one and the same. CLAC practitioners believe that no U.S. institution of higher education can claim to be global or internationalized unless meaningful use of other languages from within a more or less immersed and culturally appropriate context is an important part of its curriculum. CLAC practitioners believe that meaningful use of language isn't exclusive to studying, working, or living abroad. It can happen within any U.S. classroom, and it can occur outside of the classroom altogether in work, internship, and volunteer opportunities, and in extracurricular activities. CLAC opportunities should exist in the widest array of languages possible and should utilize the widest variety of authentic materials possible. If language is not seen as an academic subject or simply a means of accessing canonical literature, then the idea of appropriate text extends far beyond those created in privileged languages and recognized as literary or academic. CLAC empowers students to be contributors of knowledge. In order to offer CLAC opportunities in a wide variety of languages, students may need to work in languages that are not understood by the faculty, or in languages that are not formally offered within academic departments on the home campus. This suggests the transformational potential of CLAC to shake up power structures in the classroom and on the campus, and to empower students to access knowledge outside of the regular restrictions of classroom or campus administrative structures. CLAC practitioners believe that true internationalization is always transformational. It demands a reassessment of the established power structures, operational standards, academic divisions, and traditions of U.S. higher education institutions. If it isn't transformational, it isn't truly internationalization. CLAC is a driver of institutional transformation.